So you think you've got a Mallee Seeps problem, you want to work out the best solutions to that. Well, here are the steps you need to go through to arrive at the best management decisions. So there's 5 main questions that you need to answer in the early assessment to work out the best way to manage a Mallee Seep. So the first is, is this salt problem a Mallee Seep or not? I would encourage you to look at the animation on the Mallee Seeps decision tree, because that gives a clear indication. But basically what we're dealing with is the excess water flowing out of usually a sandhill. We've got an area with clay soils, that mean that it builds up a perched water table underneath, and that drives the salt to the surface through capillary rise and starts to see this area degrading. So it's very important that you're not dealing with regional water table salinity, which is highly saline, and things you do locally for water use is not going to impact the level of the water, similar to creek line salinity. But it's also different to dry saline land or magnesia country, which is often driven through drought processes, but it doesn't involve a perched water table like Mallee Seeps do. Okay, the second assessment question you need to ask is, where is this excess water coming from? Where is it ending up? And where can it be possibly intercepted? So the thing, we look at the landscape around us, and we can see, wow, there's some real deep sandy areas there that, excess water could be flowing through to this area. The other thing is that we can use things like NDVI imaging, and there's some links to how you do that. But that can show you, when you look at areas that are staying greener for longer through October and November because of the perched water table, that can help. And it can also show us in this particular area where the bigger sandy areas are that are probably not, that are contributing more water. So assessing the landscape to work out where the excess water is coming from, where it's ending up, and where it possibly might be able to be intercepted and used to lower that perched water table, absolutely a key assessment question. The third key question, and it's really important in working through the Mallee Seeps decision tree, is at what stage of development is the discharge zone or the seep area? Is it at a very early stage that is just like growing twice the crop because of that extra water that's available, particularly through dry years, and just maybe starting to show some patchiness and bearing out in that early stage? Is it in the medium or intermediate stage where you are starting to see some scalding, some patching out, still fairly small areas, but it's obviously the degradation is really starting to set in? Or is it at that real established severe stage where you're seeing a lot of bare, scalded areas, perhaps have been there for a long time, and the summer really does show a lot of crystalline salt in the surface, and you might be dealing with an area that's sort of from half a hectare to 2 or 3 hectares or whatever. So if it's at that scalded stage, in that severe stage, then that changes some of the management that you would do to try and bring that situation back. So obviously, if you can start your management at the early stage, before it becomes a really scalded, degraded area, then it means your management options to bring that back into production more quicker. There's a lot more options there for you to be able to do that. The fourth key assessment question is, what is the water quality of the perched water table water? So you do need to dig a hole, and hopefully you will find the water table probably within 1.5 meters. Here it's only around 50-60 centimeters deep. Get some water out, and you can even just do it with a taste test and think, okay, if it's the low, mild or medium end, it's probably that's something you could actually feed your stock water with. You'd be happy with that. But you can also use a salinity meter or take the water into somewhere that can measure that and get an idea. Basically, if you look at the Mallee Seeps decision tree, we will look at low to medium being less than, say, 16 decisiemens or around 10,000 parts per million. Once you get higher than that, you're into the very high saline areas. So it's absolutely critical that you know what your water quality is to then be able to come up with the best strategic management options. So once you've worked through those 4 questions, then the 5th question is, what are my options to best manage this Mallee Seep problem for my farming systems? And that's where I would encourage you to go to the Mallee Seeps decision tree on the MSF website, and that will take you through step-by-step process showing you lots of practical examples of farming situations where for certain situations they've applied certain management and come up with real solutions that in some cases have not only stopped the degradation but also brought it back into full production. There are 2 main aims for any Mallee Seep management. The first is to establish living soil cover over any bare scalded areas. As you can see, when it's getting bare and scalded, salt crystals on the surface, totally degraded. But if we can get living soil cover over that, and what we've done with that here, which is a really established old scald, we've got Puccinelia growing, a salt tolerant grass. It's perennial, and what we find in about 12 months time, that soil becomes healthy again. So this helps stop the spread, stops the scalding, reverses the degradation, and that's one of the key things to Mallee Seep management. The second thing is that you will never really fix the degradation unless you stop the flow of the water coming into this area. So if we can intercept that water flow, use it up, stop that impacting on the perched water table, that's a key, the second key to any seep management. At this site, as you can see, we've got lucerne around the outside, strategically planted, and that's actually having that impact of stopping the flow of water into this seep zone, reducing the water table to achieve those ends. So to manage your Mallee Seeps, work through the Mallee Seeps decision tree to find out and see practical answers through that process.